So taxpayers are clearly worried. Is my next guest. Reaction from Florida Republican Congressman, Lieutenant Colonel and good friend Allen West. Representative, first let's start with the some news we heard just about an hour ago. So that the leadership was actually calling you guys back to D.C. Have you heard that? I heard it was 6:30 a.m. Sunday. Is that accurate?
You are correct, and it's good to be with you, Eric. We had a conference call just this afternoon from 2:30 to about 3:05 p.m., and we will be coming back to Washington, D.C. Sunday evening, 6:30 p.m., no later than.
All right, let's talk about, the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says, hopefully there's still time to get this thing fixed before we go over the cliff. Representative, is there time?
I think there is. You know, we have done our business in the House of Representatives. We have sent a bill to the Senate which says that we will keep all of these tax rates where they are, and the Senate must act on that bill, that piece of legislation. That's regular order. So we don't need to talk about a couple of guys or people getting together in a room to negotiate or come up with a deal. We need to do that which is pragmatic, and based upon what you just heard people say, we need to keep the money in the pockets of the American people. Right now, the spending problem that we have in Washington, D.C. is affecting this country. You know, we have not had a budget passed, especially out of the Senate, in the last 3 to 4 years. And what does that mean? We're telling the American people that they have to tighten their bootstraps, but we do not seem to want to do that in Washington, D.C. As well, we have a Federal Reserve that is printing more money to the tune of about $45 billion a month to buy up our Treasury bonds, which, again, is a failed monetary policy, which shows that this economy is not on the right track.
Representative, what do you think about President Obama cutting his Hawaiian vacation short, coming back in, maybe to fix something that he broke in the first place?
Well, when you sit back and you look at where we are with our economy, the amount of debt that we have incurred, the fact that we have had 4 straight years of trillion-dollar-plus deficits, when the president sits down and says that he wants to raise taxes on those at $250,000 or above, that's only going to generate about $850 billion over the next 10 years, Eric. We have had 1.42, 1.29, 1.3, 1.2, and now we're on the way to another $1 trillion deficit just for these years. So what the president is proposing is not pragmatic whatsoever, and it really is a reflection of him, I suppose, living in some type of fantasy world.
What do you think of the deal that Speaker Boehner offered the president?
Well, I was against the Plan B because I don't see this as being a tax revenue increase issue. The most important thing is the spending. I think we could go back to the President's Commission, the Simpson-Bowles Commission, and that could be a start, something that the President didn't even adopt. But the most important thing, we have to deal with the spending problem first and foremost. Eric, we live in an America where the federal government now is spending 25% of our gross domestic product. And when you study the Obama budgets, that number will increase about 32% of our GDP. So that's where the problem has to emanate from, is the spending problem. When you look at our mandatory spending side of our budget, that's 62% of what we're spending money on. And it's not just about defense. It's not just about discretionary.
But, Representative, is there any indication that the president's deal that or he may come back with will address the spending? I haven't heard any substantial spending cuts out of any of these deals on the left.
No, absolutely. You're not hearing that whatsoever. And when I listened to Senator Chuck Schumer say that the president ran on raising taxes, and therefore, since he won, we should do that, I have to tell you that I'm not such an idiotic person. I'm going to follow someone off into the abyss. This is a horrible, political gimmick that the president ran on. Unfortunately, he did win the election. But when you look at the House of Representatives, the Republicans maintain their majority there. And that is where revenue bills emanate from.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to have you on.
Happy New Year.
You too, sir.